as you can see here, I'm starting with a blank canvas in motion 3, and I have a lady here in front of a green screen called Oksana. It's a strange name, I know. I'm going to drop her in here, drag her over and drop her in. And here we go. Let me open my project. Let me turn her off. So I want to, she's in my project, but now my project is blank. So let's start with our background. I have a picture of a street here. I'm going to drop it in. Now as you notice, when I done that, it dropped it into the same group as my Oksana. I don't want to do that. So what I want to do is add another group and drag my street up into the new group. There. Then I can take the new group that I made and drag it below Oksana group. So now I have a group with Oksana, my green screen material, and I have a group with my background. So I'm going to name group 1 background. I'll just call it BG. And I'll call this first one Oksana, and we'll worry about it in a minute. We're going to deal with the background first. So let's leave the Oksana off and deal with the background. Okay, we have a background here, but it's got a bluish cast, and we want to get rid of that bluish cast. So I'm going to make sure my street clip is selected inside my background group. Go up to Add Filter, Color Correction, Sepia. Now this will give it that nice sepia tone. Now I'm going to bring the amount down to about 60. Like that right there. That gives it just a little bit less of a bluish tint and gives it a little bit more texture. Now I'm going to add another filter. So to add filters, color correction, desaturate. And I don't want it to be totally desaturated. I want it to have a little bit of color like that right there. Like that. Almost black and white, but not quite. It's got a little sepia tone showing through, but not much. Okay, so now we have this picture. Now I want to create a shadow, kind of like there's a shadow of some buildings being cast on this building. So I want to go in and I'm going to make a shape. So I'm going to create a shape by clicking that button there. I'm going to come down here and I'm going to create a shape that looks like maybe a shadow here. Let's see. So, like so, so. Okay, now I'm going to close this shape off. Boom, we have us a shape now. Now I'm going to change the color to black, so I'm going to go to my fill color swatch, change it to black. And I'm going to bring my opacity down to about right there. Like that, to about 58%. I'm going to give it a little bit of feather. Like that. And then I'm going to go up to Add Filter, Blur, Gaussian Blur. And let's jack the amount of the Gaussian Blur up a little bit. Like that. And boom! We have us a shadow cast on our building. And to me, this looks pretty good. Of course, we can tweak it some more and do a lot more with it, but to me, it looks pretty good. So now we have our background clip, our background footage done. Now we've already brung in our green screen footage and put it in its own group above our background group. So now I'm going to go in and select my green screen footage. Go up to Add Filter, Keying, Prime Matte RT. Now, when I check my checkbox back on to turn this Osaka clip back on, you'll see that it already has the Prime Matte RT clip applied, and it looks kind of funky. So I'm going to select my Prime Matte RT, and I'm going to adjust it. So I'm going to go in here and bring my noise removal down. I'll bring my matte density down to where it looks pretty good. I don't want it to be magenta. Fix my spill suppression to about 38. Set my matte density to about 18. Set my noise removal to about 8. There. Now that looks like a pretty good key to the untrained eye. This is DV material, and DV material is notorious for being hard to key. And if you look close right here, you will see stair-stepping. This is notorious of DV material. This is what we don't want. This is what makes a key look amateur, and is one of the things that you will get fired for if you don't do a good key. So let me zoom back out here. So now I'm going to add a channel blur over the Primat RT. So I'm going to select my Oksana clip, I'm sorry. Go to Add Filter, Blur, Channel Blur. There, this will blur her. And we're going to take care of all this in a minute. Don't freak out. So now if I turn off my background and hit Shift A, I can look at my alpha channel. And I can see that it's looking pretty good right now. Not too bad. I got a pretty solid matte, and the edges of her hair and stuff ain't looking too bad. So let me hit Shift A to go back to my color. Or Shift C to go back to my color, I'm sorry. I'll turn my background group back on. Now I'm going to drag and drop another Oksana group, another green screen, the same exact one. I'm going to drag and drop it into my project. Bam. Now this throws another clip on top of my composited scene that I was working on. I'm going to rename the Oksana group to matte, because that's what this is now. It's a matte. So I'm going to click this Oksana group, and I'm going to rename it to matte so I won't get confused, because that's what we're going to use it as, matte. So now I'm going to put the Oksana group under the matte group. So this group here I'll rename to Oksana, and I'm going to drag it under the matte group. Like that. I'm going to change the blend mode of the matte layer to stencil alpha. So I'm going to go right click, blend mode, stencil alpha, and boom, that cuts her out and gets rid of the blur. But we have some serious spill. So I'm going to group the matte and the Oksana layer together. So I'm going to click it and then shift click it, Oksana and matte. I'm going to go up to Object, Group, and I'm going to rename this group Head Key, because this is what we're going to use to key out her head. So now, if you look down here in my mini timeline, I have a play range of 300. I'm going to reset it to 100. So I'm going to click over here in this box in the right corner, enter 100, and that'll reset my play range. Bring my playhead back to frame 1, and I'm ready to continue. So now I have a group called Head Key. I'm going to use a square mask and cut around her head. So I'm going to go up and select my mask tool, my square mask tool. I'm going to start right about here, and I'm going to zoom and cut a square. Remember, this is a technique that's been perfected by CMIvfx, so it is very effective. And I'm going to mask out her head, and bam! Let me turn off my background so it won't get in the way. Now we have this clip of just her head. You're thinking to yourself, what in the world is going on here? Well, you'll see. Let's give the feather, mask feather, about 5, like so. Now I'm going to open the matte layer, and I'm going to adjust the Primat. So let me open my matte layer, my Oksana clip, click on my Primat. I'm going to adjust it a little bit. Noise removal, bring it down. Matte density, bring it down a little bit. Now spill suppression ain't going to work, not right now, but we'll deal with that in a minute. Now I'm going to open the Oksana layer and select the Oksana clip, like so. I'm going to add a spill suppressor to this clip, so I'm going to add filter, keying, spill suppressor. Change it to green from blue. Bring it down a little bit to get the magenta out of it, and bam! Now we have the green out of our clip. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to close everything up, make it look neat and tidy so I can see what I'm doing here. I'm going to click my head key. I'm going to hit Command D or Apple D and duplicate it. I'm going to rename it Body Layer or Body Key. And I'm going to drag it below my head key, like so. So now our groups are the head key, the body key, and the background. Now I'm going to set the blend mode of the mask inside the body key. So let me twirl down my body key, select my mask, right click, blend mode, subtract. Bam! This will bring her back in. Now, I want to make a few adjustments here. I'm going to remove the feather. It's set to 5. Maybe give it even a little negative to -2. I'm going to open my matte copy and select the prime matte again, like so. And I'm going to adjust these a little bit. Now let me bring up my noise removal here and my matte density. And that's looking a lot better. Not too bad. I want to select, let's see here, it's looking pretty good. Let me close everything up here so I can get a fix on what's going on. Now we've got our 3 groups. Now I'm going to select my body key layer, and I'm going to go to filters. I'm going to add matte choker. Now I'm going to adjust the edge thin here a little bit. As you can see, when I do that, that takes down some of that white edge on her. We don't want to go too far, but we want to go far enough to take down enough of that edge to where it ain't too prominent. You know, now I'm doing this fast. Of course, you could tweak this better and take your time when you do these things. Okay, now I'm going to add a channel blur to both mattes. So, let me go in here, select my matte, add filter, select my first matte, add filter, blur, channel blur. I'm going to go down here to my other matte copy, add filter, blur, channel blur. There. Now let me adjust my edge thin a little bit. Now I want you all to pay close attention here. Right here. Let me turn on my background group now. If you look close, that stair step is gone. It's not jagged and look like an amateur key anymore. So now we've got this, what else can we do to it? Well, let me close everything up here. I'm going to group my head and body. Object, group. Select it, and I'm going to move it down a little bit. Okay, well, now we got this going. Everything looks great so far, but we want to make it look like she's looking at a window. But first, in order to do that, we got to select our background, add filter, blur, Gaussian blur. That'll throw a little blur on our background. So now, as you can see, I have a picture of a windowsill down here, right here. First of all, before you go anywhere else, you want to save your work. So now I'm going to drag my windowsill that I got, let it do its thing, and save. I'm going to name it Keying. Save it to the desktop for this purposes. Okay, now here's my picture of my windowsill. I'm going to drag and drop it in here. Add a new group. Put the window in the new group. And drag the window to the very top of everything. And bam, there we go. So now we have a new group on the very top with my windowsill in it. Let me scale this windowsill up by holding shift and scaling it up at the corners. So. Widen it out here. Okay, now you see this pillar right here? I'm going to use that pillar to make it look like she's looking at a window. So now I'm going to deselect everything. Let me rename my group so I can keep up with what's going on. I'll name this Oksana. And I'll name this top one Seal. Now I'm going to select my seal, open it up, select my window group. I'm going to add a mask. I'm going to go in here, select my mask tool. I'm going to fastly cut out this window seal here. Cut around this real fast. Here. And bam. Now we have this window seal cut out. Let me get it and pull it down here a little bit. Like so. Let me select it again. I want to drag it and make it stretch the whole length of the seam. I want to make sure it reaches from top to bottom. And I might want to rotate it just a tad too to make it straight. Like that. Okay, now we got this little windowsill here on one side. So now what we're going to want to do is we're going to want to duplicate this. So I'm going to select my window picture, hit Command D, like so. And then I'm going to grab my edge over here and I'm going to drag it over here like this. Let's see. Like so. Now we have our windowsill for this side. Whoa, went crazy on me, didn't it? We don't want to do that, do we? So now, let's adjust this windowsill here a little bit. Go into my inspector, to my properties, rotation. I want to make sure I rotate it around to where it's straight. Straighten it up here. Okay, now we have these two windowsills. So what I'm going to do is, I don't want them to match. So I'm going to open up my street, and I have a desaturate and a sepia. I'm going to select both of them and hit Command C to copy them. I'm going to go to my windowsill group and hit Command V to paste it. And this will make it the same color as my background. Not too bad, huh? So now let's go back to our file browser. Let's close everything up. Make a new group. Make sure it's at the top. Drag your windowsill picture into that group again. Another copy. This time we're going to rotate it around this way. Bring it down. Stretch it out. And we're going to add a mask to it. So I'm going to select my mask. And we'll just go in here real quick and mask this out. Like so. I'm going to add the same 3 filters by selecting my windowsill and hitting Command V and posting those 3 pictures again. Now you can go into your desaturate and pull it down to make it a little less obtrusive. Let's see, let's not make it so fat. Let's drag it down here a little bit. So there we are. Now she's got her windowsill. So now we want to make it look like she's looking at a window. So I got a picture of an Apple store here. Right here. Let me undo that. I'll make another group. So make another group. Drag your picture. I'm going to drag my Apple Store picture into that new group. It's on the very top. I'm going to scale this thing up to the full size. I want to put it between my windowsill groups, or below my windowsill groups and above my Oksana group, as you can see here. So now what I want to do is I'm going to select the picture that I just brung in, and I'm going to bring the opacity down like this. Now, as you can see, it looks like she is in the store reflection of a window. Slight reflection there over in here and around. You know, it looks like she's kind of, somebody's looking at it through the glass. So now we have this wonderful composite. What are we going to do? Well, we could add a finishing touch here. Let's go to our library and select the particles. We'll go into sparkles and we'll use a magic wand. So let's make sure we're parked on frame 1. Let's close all of our groups up. Add a new group. Make sure it's at the top above everything else. Drag and drop your particle. I'm going to use magic wand. And there we go. Now I'm going to turn my particle off, so I won't have to look at it while I'm tracking it. And then I'll turn it back on when I'm done. So now I have this particle that's going to be emitting right here. So I'm going to go park my playhead on frame 1, select the particle, place it on our finger, wherever frame 1 is, place the particle on our finger like that. Now I'm going to track this particle. I'm going to have to do this manually. So I'm going to make sure my particle's off, but I'm going to keep my particle selected. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn on my record button. Go to my inspector, properties, under position here. As you can see, they've turned red. I'm going to click this little diamond, and it's going to give me a keyframe right here. You can see I got a keyframe. So now I want to go through this 10 frames at a time. I'm going to go down here and enter 10, and her hand will jump to 10, as you can see. So now I'm going to take this little dot and drag it right on top of her finger. Set a keyframe. Jump up to frame 20. Remember, I'm going 10 frames at a time. I'm going to set another keyframe. Move it down here. Like that. Go to frame 30. Set another keyframe. This. Go to frame 40. Set another keyframe. And drag it on around her finger. Frame 50, halfway there. Set another keyframe. You can see the pattern that I'm going by here. So let me go on through and zoom through this and do this. There's no way around it. It's a tedious process when you're animating particles and stuff, especially when you're doing something that can't be tracked. And a lot of times you're going to find out that there's going to be stuff that cannot be tracked. As a matter of fact, I come across more stuff that can't be tracked than can be tracked, it seems to me. But that's just in my experience, and that's, you know, I haven't got as much experience as a lot of people, but more than other people, you know. So okay, there we go. Let me turn my record button off, go to the beginning, play it back, turn back on my particle first. That would help, wouldn't it? Let me go up here to my view and turn off my title safe. Deselect everything, play it. And there we go. The track's a little off. I'd want to go in there and fix that. So let's go back. Right about there. And the record button. And just do your adjustments. Like so. And go forward. You're going to double click and add another point. And you can drag it over to her finger. Like so. And you can go through and adjust this as it needs be, you know. But I think that's gonna, right there, we need to fix it. So I'll bring it over, that, and set a keyframe there. And that pretty much does it, I think. Let's play it back. Yeah, that's better than it was. A couple spots, like right there, it's off. Right there. So let's set a keyframe. Put it on our finger. That. And that should fix that little spot. We'll go on around. Right here needs fixing. There. I'm done tweaking. You all get the idea. Let me deselect everything, go back to the beginning and play it. And there we go. I'm not going to sit and fool with this tracker and fix it. You know what I'm talking about. That's it. So there you go. Our hard edge is gone. It looks like she's in front of a window. She's fooling with her tracker. It's got a shadow in the building behind it. It's a very, very complicated composite, and it looks pretty good. It really, really does. So I hope you guys have learned something. If you have any questions, please get a hold of me at www.finalcutstudioschool.com, and we'll see you next time. And here is the final shot. I removed the white edges down in here and around her arm. I couldn't handle that. Let me see here. I don't want to do that. Let me open up my project. Okay, there we go. I got gestures enabled. You know, let me turn off this. That way I can, you know how, see, you can see how quick that is when you're using a pen and you want something open or you just want it closed. Or you want to bring up your HUD. There's your HUD. And there's gestures for everything. I mean, literally everything. And it's really nice. I mean, I could, since I've got used to these gestures, I've been using them a lot. And it's a really quick way of working. But anyway, that's not the point of the video. The point of the video is here is the final shot. And here it is. Works. Everything's a little desaturated. Everything tracks along just fine. And it's the end of her clip. And the keying is really good. And if you know what you're doing, you can see motion can key just as good as anything else. Now in our next video, we're going to key this same footage and set up this same scene in Shake. So you can compare the two. Thanks for watching.